Hello and welcome back to another week of 58 Minutes. I'm your host, Chill Up Winters, and this week we're celebrating 60 episodes of Count Gauntly's Horrors from the Public Domain. So here we have Count Simon Gauntly on the show to speak about what it's like to have 5 years down the hatch of Count Gauntly's Horrors.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, Chill. Thanks for inviting me on your program. I know you tend to like to keep business and pleasure separate, and so you're looking pretty classy tonight, and thanks for letting me invade with my loud persona and wardrobe.
No problem.
Because it is a big event, you know, it's a serious and remarkable occasion as we embark on our 6th season. I kind of thought some of the other Crypt Dwellers might join me this evening, but we're filming, as you know, on St. Patrick's Day. And they're just a bunch of inveterate degenerates. And we're the ones who stick to our guns and show up on time and really just do it to it, right?
None of the other Crypt Dwellers have their own shows like us.
That's right. So
and I'd say it speaks to their level of commitment. If you commit yourself, eventually you get your own show.
So true. We've got investment galore.
Through 5 years of producing a show at Fairfax Public Access, you've done a lot of different things. You've cooked, you've traveled, you've made music. Start things off. What has been your favorite part of cooking for Count Gauntly?
Well, you know, as Ogrot once told me, you break the bones first and you ask questions later. You slice the throat first and you drink the blood later. Anything can go when Ogrot's in the kitchen, but it always turns out just right. And we just like to sample what's out there in the world, you know, the earth's bounty, be it fruit or vegetable or mostly animal, sometimes mineral. But we will eat just about anything that moves.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
We like to absorb the life force because we need to sustain ourselves. And that's what it's all about. What about you? What's your favorite thing about cooking?
The water. In most things you cook, I guess cooking, it reduces, if there was ice, it becomes water. So there isn't always ice, but there is always water. And so I like the water.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
To fire a question back to you, what minerals have you cooked?
Salt, mostly.
I guess that is pretty standard.
Yeah, not that unusual. I don't even know why I brought that up.
Also, as a fan of ice, I would say I am not a fan of salt.
One repels the other a little bit. But you know, ice is a crystal. It's kind of like a mineral.
And it is crucial to producing ice cream, so I guess it is all right.
Sometimes you got to work together. We've cooked a variety of dishes, cooked rabbit. We've got our honey-baked barbecue rabbit here, fresh out of the field because Easter is happening in April this year. And so in the spirit of our first completed year on the air, we've got a rabbit, traditional Easter symbol of rebirth. You know, there's death, and then there's rebirth, and then, of course, there is death again. We've cooked a heart, a beef tongue.
A beaver. A beaver.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, now that you bring that up, there was a time that we ate a beaver. That may have been our most unusual cooking menu item that we've had for our bill of fare. It's time for a real Thanksgiving feast, gents. And now, you at home might not know this, but we actually tape a month in advance. And in mid-October, turkeys aren't nearly as easy to come by as they are in mid-November. So actually, we'll be celebrating Canadian Thanksgiving, which does happen towards the end of October. So it's perfectly in season to get that national Canadian symbol, the beaver.
That's what I'm about.
Eh?
Have you had any Yetis?
We met a Yeti once. Did not eat him yet, but who knows what the future holds.
Oh my gosh, it's a Yeti!
Oh man!
Retreat! Retreat!
Oh no! Run! Go guys, go! Oh, there's a Yeti behind us!
Oh jeez! He's huge!
Oh,
Are you sure you can't use those teleporting powers?
Freaks like you gotta help us out somehow!
Okay.
Something.
Woo! 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 Oh yeah! All right.
Oh,
Let's
yeah,
go, guys.
where are the
Hey,
others?
wait a minute.
Oh, come on!
For himself!
That's not
Run.
fair.
Go, go, go!
Woo! Oh wow! I'm gonna die! Ah! Whee! Woo! So cold! My face is freezing! Ah! Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Why do you only make one?
Curse! Slice! Just go down as best you can.
Oh, greedy hippie!
Christmas depends on it. And also not being eaten by a Yeti. Let's see, we've eaten insects before. We have eaten mollusks, that is octopi and escargot. And we have had eel, yes indeed.
That's awesome.
Whole cavalcade, just any sort of thing you think might make a good repast or a bad one. Have you ever just mixed together a bunch of garbage and tried to eat it?
I have not personally.
Well, you're missing out because there is something called soup beer that is just the elixir of life. You mix equal parts warm chicken noodle soup and cold root beer, and there's just something about it that is unparalleled in the culinary world because it just perfectly encapsulates the color and flavor and texture of vomit.
I thought you were going to say the color, flavor, and texture of Count Gauntly.
That too. Very closely intertwined, you might find.
Have you eaten anything else?
Oh, I'm sure we have. There were chicken hearts at one point. We've had bull testicles before. We have eaten other reproductive organs on Valentine's Day because I feel like that's just how you got to do it to get into the spirit.
And pizzle.
That's right, a bull pizzle. To accompany our fine dish of curried uterus, we have a fittingly, matchingly sensual organ here. The street term in the culinary world is pizzle. This comes from a male cow, a bull as it were. So take a real close look at that, robot. How does that make you feel?
I did not know they were for eating.
Very chewy, that one. Some dragon fruit, some sea cucumber, and we just like to try all sorts of new things. It's a very adventurous spirit here on Count Gauntly's that
awesome.
will just endure into the 6th season.
And into the 7th and into the 8th. And until you become a member of the 500 Club, correct?
That's the dream right there. And I understand that you're potentially getting pretty close yourself. How long have you been on the air?
Well,
Show you.
fortunately, news programs, I don't know about 60 Minutes. I don't know if that's weekly or nightly or what, but here we do it nightly. So I've only been going for a year, but I'm already coming up close to 500 episodes.
Wow, that's very efficient.
Certainly. You can fit more in when you only have to do 58 minutes of production every day versus 60. So in your 5 years producing Count Gauntly, you've cooked and you've also made a lot of music.
Yes, we got some musical gentlemen on the show. And, we like to, just as we represent different fields of the culinary arts, to do the same thing with the musical arts. Various kinds of instruments. The human voice is an instrument. The theremin is an instrument. And we just like to try to get it all into the mix. So have you watched much Count Gauntly? I will ask that.
About parts of most of the ones that I've been in. And some others from time to time.
Honestly, that's the most I can ask of anyone associated with the show. And far more than I can ask of anyone not associated with the show. But some of my favorite music moments, I would have to say, there was the Severed Head Barbershop Quartet in our second Halloween episode. That was one for the books. I was hoping, a bit of insider info here, I was hoping the heads would thaw a little bit more. And so the jaws would kind of flap when we had them on the pikes, and it would look like they were singing, but they were still frozen pretty stiff. But you know what? We work with what we have.
Up until this point, I didn't know that they weren't actually singing, so I'd say it worked out just fine.
Wow, that's some good suspension of disbelief there, if I do say so myself. But I guess we just bring a lot of verisimilitude to the table.
By the light of the silvery moon, I want to spoon, to my honey love's tune I'll croon. Honeymoon,
Honeymoon, honeymoon.
keep it shining in June.
Keep it shining in June.
Your silvery beams will bring love's dreams. We'll be cuddling soon.
We'll be cuddling soon.
By the silvery moon.
By the silvery moon.
Ha! Mellifluous.
Some other highlights, we had Freak Slice and Ogrot play Auld Lang Syne on the electric guitar. That was pretty classy for New Year's. We had some sea shanties, also courtesy of Freak Slice.
Do-do-do-do-do-do. Yo ho, blow the man down. To blow the man down. Oh, beautiful music. A fitting celebration.
And then, of course, we had our 50th episode musical spectacular, and we just kind of brought everything to bear. A whole original score with original lyrics. And, some of that came off better than some other parts, but we tried, and that's what really matters. Just got to give it your all, give it a go, and like you said a moment ago, commit, right? You just got to be present in the moment, put your blood and sweat and toil in front and behind the camera, and just spray it all over the unwilling masses.
Ogrot would like to thank you. Ogrot is glad you came to see Ogrot's hometown here in the Lone, down here in the Bog of Og. Ogrot's so glad to meet you. Ogrot has much to teach you. For Ogrot know to have a good show, you have to sink down very low. Eating things from long ago, that is where we'll start. Let the rest start to grow in your you've had the grand tour, Ogret still has to share more. Roll in the dirt and Ogret is certain ratings are going to soar.
That was quite a celebration for your 50th episode, and you're following it up nicely by coming here to 58 Minutes to celebrate your 60th.
Yes,
So-
I feel like this is pretty much the same level of ambition. We're really working hard here. Quite ambitious set and production design. And
I myself am trying extremely hard, so I agree.
It shows.
Well, yes, in your 5 years, you've cooked, you've sang, played instruments, and you've also traveled a lot. What interesting places have you been to over the years?
So we've got a segment called Gauntly's Ghost Towns, and we like to hit up famous historical haunted landmarks throughout the country. Haven't traveled abroad yet. Maybe that's something that the future holds. But, you know, if you can think of an iconic locale in the history of American horror, chances are we've been there. We filmed, you know, first we kept it a little bit local and we were over at Bunnyman Bridge.
My favorite icon of American horror cinema.
Hey, that's right. I mean, you can't neglect something like the Bunnyman. Now, believe it or not, the actual Bunnyman-related incidents that have historical record occurred in Burke, which is my hometown. Do you hear that echo? It's like crazy right here. Do you hear that?
Yes.
What if it was actually crazy?
It's crazy!
It's crazy right here.
So we got the Blizzard Wizard here. Want to say something?
Here was breeze. Except I mean a breeze.
Oh, that was clever.
That was clever.
We journeyed to Sleepy Hollow, New York, the stomping grounds of Ichabod Crane and the Headless Horseman.
Behind me is the churchyard of the Old Dutch Church, the supposed burial ground of the Hessian horseman who became headless. That's why he had to get buried, because it's hard to stay alive for very long if you haven't got a head. But somehow he managed it, because he's still looking for it. He comes up out of the ground and he wanders around, and brought so much attention to this little spot that people are still coming today. Even though the church is old, everybody's in it's old, and the town's old. But that headless guy, man, he's what's bringing us back.
Over a deep black part of the stream, not far from the church, was formerly thrown a wooden bridge. The road that led to it and the bridge itself were thickly shaded by overhanging trees, which cast a gloom about it even in the daytime, but occasioned a fearful darkness at night. Such was one of the favorite haunts of the Headless Horseman, and the place where he was most frequently encountered.
The Headless Horseman Bridge, described by Irving in The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, formerly spanned the stream at this point. I'm standing here atop what was once the Sleepy Hollow Bridge. It is again, but it's not the original. This was the site at which Ichabod crossed the brook. If you look over here, you'll see the Babbling Brook is right down there. This, I believe, is the same Babbling Brook, if not the same bridge. And Ichabod crossed the brook at this point, and he believed that the curse was going to cause the horseman to disappear, but it seemingly did not work. He was still killed by a pumpkin. But hopefully we'll have better luck crossing right now. Come on.
We also have traveled to Salem, Massachusetts, from whence hails the Snake Doctor. He's got that witch blood coursing through his veins. What do you think of the Snake Doctor?
I've never met anyone like the Snake Doctor, other than the Snake Doctor.
I cannot disagree.
Ah, I love my snakes. This is Satan and this is the devil. They have wonderful names. This is the season of Halloween, and I think Halloween represents the season of magic, the magic of the witch, and I want to see some magic here tonight. I know that you have some people here that you're going to show me how you do the magic, and that's what I want to see. I don't want to see a party and having a good time. I want to see Satan and the devil, and they want to see magic like I do too. So let's see what we have that's going to be going on here tonight. Where are these people I heard were going to come into this place, and they were going to show me some magic?
All right, magic users!
Show me some magic.
Ice Cream Man on this side, and Red Riding Hood right here.
This is the
Come
season.
on, magic!
Oh no, this is the season of magic.
Excellent.
I want to see something. What are you doing to me? No, I don't like that.
Everyone
That's not
else,
good enough.
charge!
You have to get better. No, come on now, please.
Ouch, fellow
No.
Halloween belongs to us! And the Crypt Dwellers!
And then where else? Where have you been since Salem?
So we've also been to New Orleans. We took the critic because, as I'm sure you're aware, in one of our episodes, he was bitten by a zombie, and it kind of set him back a lot of ways. It brought his morale down. It brought his bloodlust up, and he was just kind of struggling with his sense of identity. And so we journeyed to the French Quarter of New Orleans to get in touch with his voodoo zombie roots and just kind of connect him with that undead birthright.
Le Grand Zombie is the most important and powerful of the voodoo spirits. Le Grand Zombie manifests itself through the snake. In Haiti, the spirit is known as Dambala. Dambala.
I see a pretty grand zombie in front of me right now. I'm talking about you.
Maybe I am indeed a zombie. If
it wasn't real
really
now,
starting to feel it.
If it wasn't real before, it's real now.
I can feel it in this room. Connecting with my zombie origins. What it all means. The roots of it, the spirit of it, the meaning of it, the depth of it. It's to be a part of zombie, is to be a part of voodoo, is to be part of something great. And maybe that was why I became a zombie. It was many, many months ago.
And that was quite a time. We saw a lot, and we ate a lot, and we drank some.
Those are all very important things to do when you're in New Orleans. So
they tell me. And where else? This most recent Halloween, we've journeyed to, it was sort of a double whammy. We went to Roswell, New Mexico, where everything is devoted to aliens. There was just alien gas stations and alien credit unions and all manner of alien accoutrement. But, a bit of a snafu, the projectionist who, during our previous Halloween incarnation when we went to New Orleans, he too was struggling with some identity issues, and I have to admit, I neglected him a little bit. And so we said, this year, you're number 5, we're going somewhere together, we're gonna do it, we're gonna bond. And he got the itinerary mixed up, and he went instead to Transylvania.
Wow.
But hey, it got us some footage from Dracula's hometown, and so ultimately it's a win-win.
Whoa! Hey everybody, I'm here in Roswell, New Mexico for our Halloween number 5 special. Because, where else would I be? This is the perfect place. In addition to our 5th year, it's an anniversary of sorts for this place as well, because it is the 70th anniversary of the purported UFO crash out in the desert near the town. And, I'm waiting hopefully soon the other members of the cast are going to arrive here and join me, but... Oh. Huh. I'm hearing a... Let me just take this real quick. Hello? Hey man, where are you at? Talking to the projectionist here. Oh. Well, I mean, I told you it was a special anniversary. So, how many other places could it be? Uh-huh. Well, no, it was not the 120th anniversary of the publication of Dracula that I was thinking of.
Roswell? Are you kidding me? I mean, I came all the way out here to Transylvania, and you're back in America?
Well, I guess you'll just have to show us what you got.
So, once again, it seems I didn't get the memo about where this year's trip was going to be. You know, you left me out of the New Orleans trip, and this time Roswell, well, I have to say, I think I found a better location this time. We're standing here in front of Bran Castle, near Brasov, Romania. It's also known as Dracula's Castle, although the connection to Dracula is tenuous at best. Supposedly, Vlad Tepes, the inspiration for the Dracula legend, once stayed here, although that's a little shaky as well. And Bram Stoker may have been inspired by this castle to write about Dracula's castle himself, although that's also a little unclear. But what is clear is that this castle is a remarkable work of art, and inside it's filled with all sorts of gorgeous treasures from its past. Architecturally, it's quite astounding. So certainly worth a trip if you're out here in spooky Transylvania.
Well, at some point in the future, you should try to figure out somewhere for you two to go together, even if that was originally planned to be Salem. I mean, not Salem, Roswell. You can figure something out.
Yes, hopefully. We'll see. Do you have any other ideas of where we might travel in the future?
The North Pole, if you take him up on that.
Okay.
Seems like...
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he'd have the front row seats.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you'd like to tag along on a trip like that, right?
Definitely. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with the Santas, but I do agree with the cold and their way of living up there. So if you go, count me in.
I will count you in.
Good pun.
I learned from the best.
So, oh yeah, any other places you've traveled to you can think of?
We did go to Centralia, Pennsylvania. It was an abandoned coal mining town where during the 60s there was a fire that started down in the mine, and you know, it just kind of got into the seam and there wasn't any way to put it out, and it burned underneath the town until parts of the town started falling into sinkholes and stuff, and that was not a good time for the residents, and so they abandoned this municipality, and I traveled there. It's kind of the basis for the Silent Hill horror video games. And it was pretty chill, actually. I didn't hear any rumbling. I think if the fire's still down there, it's pretty far down there. I don't know. I didn't fall into any sinkholes. I'm still here, as far as I know. This could all just be a fever dream. Sometimes I think that might be the case. But here we are, or seem to be.
It seems to be that way, for sure.
Coal seems to be that way? The coal seam that was on fire? Is that the idea?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
yes.
very nice.
That was what I was planning.
We've had a variety of guests, a menagerie of colorful personae, people who have joined us down in the crypt.
Mm-hmm.
Who is your favorite crypt dweller?
Well, other than the Blizzard Wizard, I like the robot. Lugubribot, 2 or 3 or 4,000.
Sure enough, a creation of a mad scientist.
And Dr. Lugubrious as well, obviously.
We could pause a moment and we could talk about that robot, because, you know, a mechanical man, life is not easy for a figure like that. We tried to teach him to love, but then realized that perhaps we were in error, and that the heartless life was one to be pursued, indeed. Just a lot less pain, a lot less wear and tear on the soul. Just ignore that whole thing. ignore your feelings, bottle them up, and you'll have a satisfactory day.
The soul hurts less when it doesn't exist.
That's so true. But I cut you off. What else comes to mind? Who else comes to mind?
I was a big fan of the first Santa who came to visit us in the first Christmas episode. Well, not long before the projectionist, but long before the projectionist was a Santa, right?
That's correct. We did have an old-timey Santa Claus, large and in charge, as they usually tend to be. But the Santa wars are intense. And there's
Santa is long gone at this point.
That's right. There's people are always coming at the king. And the projectionist, he just has got to work hard to keep his throne. That's probably why he's not here right now.
He's gaining more tassels for his hat.
That's right. Just battling Santas, consuming their hearts, gaining power all the time. I personally thought the show received a burst of rejuvenation when Freak Slice joined us down in the crypt.
Definitely.
He travels even further afield than we ourselves. He seems to transcend time and space. He may be a deity, unconfirmed. But he's just happy-go-lucky. Even if he is always eating green, always eating kale and things like that, I can forgive him. It takes all kinds. And he just leads us to new horizons.
I agree. On a semi-related note, have we had any confirmed deities on the show that you can think of?
I suppose Chronotempia was a time goddess, I believe. She helped us get back from the Middle Ages. Oh, and we did, in our Ancient Egypt episode, we met the deity Thoth. May or may not have been also the projectionist.
And also Anubis, right?
And also Anubis, that's right. The god of embalming helped us prepare that mummy back in the day. And just an amiable fellow. He gets a bad rap.
Definitely. Well, I'm glad we've met some deities along the way.
It really just affirms your belief in an afterlife, really gives your life here on Earth more meaning, to connect to the spiritual side of existence. And that's a big part of public television, I think. I believe briefly we mentioned the critic, had some good adventures with him. He's always willing to try new foods. A good quality for a zombie to have. You can't really be too picky about your palate. And Thelonious, we touched on him a little bit. Good with a whisk and quick with a quip, and a pretty fine dancer as well.
Especially if it's whisk dancing.
Is there any other kind? That's what I would like to know.
I don't think so.
Well, we'll go to the tape and we'll see.
Okay.
We've got some deep cut characters. We met the Queen of Egypt once. We've had, I don't know, what kind of monsters haven't we had? We've had a vampire, we've had an alien,
Never had a Frankenstein.
We've never had a Frankenstein, although I have suspicions. I don't know exactly what Ogrot's pedigree is. I think he is partially a little bit of, bits and pieces here and there, like a Frankenstein. Also possibly, I was looking in my Fiend folio, my monster manual, and it described an umplebee, which is a shuffling beast that kind of follows along behind you and doesn't really help or hinder you. Occasionally it'll give you a shock of static electricity and just kind of grumble. I think that's a prominent part of Ogrot's makeup.
That sounds like the most beautiful demon.
It's pretty aesthetically pleasing.
For sure.
It's the kind of thing you want to describe to your friends.
I guess that's just about everyone, right?
Yeah, for the most part. I've had some help from this guy over here, Chillip Winters. He always brings the cool vibes and the cool teens and just builds our audience.
I have brought several cool teens in my time to the crypt.
Just got to spread the word, just like you're doing this evening. And I want to thank you for that, sir.
You're welcome, no problem. So yeah, anything else?
We went to DC once. That was pretty monstrous.
Well, anything else about your 5 years on Gauntly?
Oh, I see. Specific memories. Yeah. Things beyond the pale. Yes, well...
Something that can't be grouped together with other things because it's so dang unique that you need to point it out on its own.
Oh, just oodles. Probably my favorite moment off the top of my head. We sailed on a pirate ship once. We just we ganked it, we stole it, and we left the pirates in the lurch. And now we have a cool pirate ship that we park out on Ogrot's Lake. And
does he sail on his lake?
He does. He sails all manner of watercraft on his lake. I think he's been experimenting with a hovercraft.
Wow.
Yeah. As our budget climbs, we're able to invest in our hobbies, our side projects. This is just a very lucrative day job, but there's more to the Crypt Dwellers. Other things, we had local horror host Carlos Borloff come by. He hooked us up with the dead rat of approval. Just kind of put us on level playing ground with other local horror hosts. We kind of arrived. We're a big deal now.
And Thelonious became president of the Moon.
That's right. Thelonious served as governor of the Moon.
Okay.
He did make a presidential run. I'm not quite sure how that 2016 election turned out. I don't really keep up with politics. I'm kind of insulated from it here down in my subterranean bubble, except when I journey onto your set.
Well, I hope that if he didn't win, he would take a note from the glorious leader and just kind of rule over it anyways.
It is a good approach. But as you said, we've traveled to the Moon. We traveled back in time. We were in the Middle Ages once.
With the giant.
Oh, that's right. Now, that was a striking figure if ever I saw one. Algor the Giant. That was actually a pretty entertaining film. And it showed the worth of a bard, certainly it did. And yet, it was a little bit long, wasn't it, Ogrot?
I hate to burst your bubble, but the giant is now here.
He had so much time during that film that he showed up! Oh, it's the fierce Algor! I guess it's time to show your stuff. Go for it, Minsley.
Here goes nothing. Here now we stand toe to toe with a giant, hoping this tune will make him more compliant. Ah!
You're so large! What are you doing here? Go away, man! Oh!
You know I'm afraid of heights. This is awful. This isn't kosher at all. What am I going to tell Father? My stamp collection.
He snatched up our friend Minsley the Bard, and it looked like curtains for him. But in the end, the dragon came and saved the day. Also got some help from Little Chad, the giant slayer. He recruited the dragon and kind of spooked the giant away. Minsley fell from his grasp, and he was fine, and so was his stamp collection.
I'm glad to hear it.
Barely breathe. Just let me go, please. Am I alive? Oh my gosh, I'm going to die. Oh dear. I'm alive.
Also, we journeyed once to ancient Egypt. We prepared a mummy. We just this guy was unfortunate enough to kick the bucket, and so we just sawed into him, got out his organs, put him in canopic jars. I just really got the authentic experience, I would say.
That's awesome.
Indeed. It was awesome. Absolutely.
Unfortunately, I'm not Egyptian. Otherwise, I could come up with some Egyptian puns, but I'm solely icy.
What else leaps to mind? Just, it's been 5 years of exploring crypts and traveling the country, spreading the Gauntly gospel, and cooking animals, eating them, as well as...
Ooh, there was one time you didn't cook or eat this animal, but you had it on. You had the pup dog. Which pup dog?
We had a dog on the show. We let it run around on the kitchen counter like you're supposed to do with dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think we gave it some pizzle or
that's right. We just fed the dog
juice or something.
That's right. Some bull pizzle, some pig uterus, some sea cucumber, and it just went to town. That was the happiest diner we've ever had on Count Gauntly. So I'm glad you brought that up.
If there are any stray dogs watching tonight, they should come on by.
That's
FPA,
right. This is the place to be.
Good food.
Yeah, and so we always like to try new things. We always like to be adventurous. Come on down and see us in the crypt, or watch us at home. That's good too. Always like to boost our numbers. As I'm thinking about this, we've gone back in our minds. We've recollected a lot of memories this evening.
Mm-hmm.
Really seems like that's kind of all we've done. We've just kind of talked about things that have already happened. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, that does seem fair. Seems kind of a bit like a clip show.
Wait a second. You mean one of those episodes where it just shows like footage from episodes that they already made and have already aired, and if people are true fans, they've seen already?
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Well,
unless you have a news show, it doesn't really work with news shows. So I haven't had any clip shows, but
I mean,
it's fine.
I don't know. That seems kind of like lazy and kind of phoning it in for a 6th anniversary type thing. Why would anybody do that sort of thing?
Well, to be truly successful in TV, you gotta have some clip shows from time to time. Yeah.
I just got to do it. It's just a fact of television life.
Pretty much.
Oh my gosh! But
at this point, I'm surprised you don't have several clip shows.
I mean, that's how they ended Leave It to Beaver, and it was terrible. Just the last episode, a clip show. What kind of ending is that? I mean, like the ending of Dinosaurs is one thing, where just everybody dies and the Ice Age sets in. That's a proper ending. That's a proper way to see the people off. Just see a baby freezing. That's the way to end it. But with a clip show, that's weak.
For one, fortunately, this isn't your last episode. I assume you have many, many, many more to go.
All right, that's fair.
Also, if we're referencing what other popular shows have done, there is a show I know of called Lazy Town that had 3 clip shows in the first season. So I think you're doing very good if this is your first on your 6th season premiere.
Okay. All right, I'll see. If Lazy Town could do it 3 times and still wind up where it's at, I'll see. I'll sit tight. We'll see where this goes. We'll ride this storm. We'll ride this train to the end, as I've said, in a clip. And we'll see where it goes.
Okay. Do you need any help sitting in place to kind of calm yourself down to be ready to accept a clip show?
I don't know. Let me see. Oh, I don't know. I gotta go. I feel frozen. Oh, you know a thing or two about the Ice Age. I'm stuck. Oh no.
And I think that will wrap us up here at 58 minutes. Again, I am Chillup Winters. This is my lovely guest on our show tonight, Count Simon Gauntly. And have a Fairfax Public Access evening, guys. And we're out.
Wait. No. The ice is thawing. I can't go out this way. Not with a clip show. Oh. I gotta consult the time-traveling friends that I have acquired over the years. People like Santa Claus, people like Freak Slice. I just gotta go recruit their skills and undo this travesty of an episode.
Pleasant nightmares.
And I do hope you'll join me again next time for Count Gauntly's horrors from the public. Domain. Hey, you. Listen, I have something important to tell you. I don't know how long I can stay. But whatever you do, whatever the years ahead may bring, never do a clip show. Stop talking. Listen. I don't know how much open space there is for me to get a word in edgewise, but you have to pay attention to what I'm saying now. Okay, listen to my wisdom. Never do a clip show. It's lazy. People will hate it. It ruined Leave It to Beaver. And, the timeline is changing. Things are unfolding differently. This episode never happened. Oh!
Here's time, and here is the end. It's a fable of old, it's a way to pretend. In passing, will we make amends when we turn out the lights, or we taken a stand? Run on like the hand spinning round, like we're painting the picture without any clouds. Shape up to a cause and confused, and we've used all our wings till the ground is abused. 'Cause now without time's as a wing to the goose, and time without now is as a neck to the noose. And we've stepped from the rhythm to follow the ruse. I go willing to walk alone. I go with you on my own. sound, you can make the speech. Look outward and step inside. There's a learning to know and a will to be wise. There's a love to grow and reality pride from the hands of those who are handling time, from the needs below and the shoulds outside. We're stepping away to a different stride. Together in rhythm, brothers in rhyme. Together in rhythm, brothers in rhyme. Together in rhythm, together in rhythm, together in rhythm. I know nothing, nothing you have not shown me. I know nothing, nothing you have not grown. We grow rooted, rooted to the unknown below. To the unknown we go. To the unknown we go. To the unknown we go. To the unknown we go.
Whoa, there's something back here.
Was that the leprechaun?
That's good.
It sounded
Might
like
have been. Or an alien. No problem. That's fine. I'll probably put that as the very ending moment.